What's happening, guys? Dan here, DD Speed Shop. Like always, we're in the garage working. So, we're gonna be back working on this junker. Oh, it looks so weird to look up at a car like that. So, 66 Chevy Biscayne, 4-door, 2-door conversion, miscellaneous motor problems, all that. Anyways, the new thing is, it's on a scissor lift or a body shop lift. Now, when I got this thing, a lot of people had questions about it and comments, good and bad. So, I wanted to address just a few of them. I bought this thing used off Marketplace for $1,000. Here, the Chinese knockoffs are about $3,000. I don't know if that includes shipping or not. So, I don't know, I've been looking for a while, and ultimately, it's what I wanted. I don't have room for a 2-post lift. I don't really have room for a 4-post lift. My real issue being ceiling height. So this is pretty good. We're almost touching. What I did do is remove the garage door operator, so we can go up as high as we can. We're probably got another 2 inches there, but overall, I'm like 6'2"-ish, so it's not too bad. Good for doing brakes. You know, at this height, another 2 inches might be better, but I'm happy with it. Also, the lower the car, or the shorter the car, the higher it could be off the ground. So it's definitely not perfect for a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff. The whole scissor is in the middle of the car, so transmissions, drive shafts, all that is kind of not going to be a thing. Exhaust, all that, not great. But brakes, body work, all that is going to be nice. I'm going to do rockers at, chest height. And obviously I can lower it to my rolly chair, be happy with whatever I want. Painting a car would be great. We can have it down real low, paint the roof, then lift it up, paint the rockers, get underneath, all those sort of things. So it should be great. Now, there are many drawbacks to a scissor lift. Now, I use 2-post lifts at work all the time. Drive me nuts because you got posts right in the door. You're always endlessly opening and closing the door. It's a pain. So if you have a 2-post lift, I think you need double deep. You can roll the car forward or back. 4-post lift are good, except you're always tripping on the posts and all that sort of stuff. If you want to lift it and then do wheels, you got to double jack it with some slider jacks in the 4-post. Both of which we have at work and do different things, but it is what it is. My main issue is height. A 2-post lift would have been fine. This is where we're at. Now, I said already what I don't like about underneath. There is the tippiness factor. People have been mentioning that. They're not wrong. It definitely feels a little tippy, but you know what? A 2-post or 4-post, well, 2-post I should say, is the same way a 4-post if you're using a slider jacks. Anything can be tippy depending on what you're doing. The footprint is rather small, so I'm going to do 2 things to address that. Number one, I've already bought and set up one of these kind of screw jacks. So this is what I bought. Now these were, I think they were $100. They're meant for quite tall, so I actually cut them here-ish. So that's what we're going to do. And then they're adjustable. So right now I got this one just tested out. It's sitting on the cross member. So we have, front to back. I want to put one of those in the front, one of those in the back. Now, the next thing that people do, and I'm probably going to build as well, is a set of cribs. So what that essentially is a bunch of 2x4s, kind of look like a Jenga setup almost. And you can put them under the tires. So I'll be able to put them under it, drop the car. The weight will be on the suspension. So it'll be at ride height, which is nice. And then it'll be up high and very sturdy. Shouldn't be any issues there. Or a set of extended jack stands, or who knows what I'm going to do down the road. But in this situation, what we're doing today, after we build these screw jacks, pull the wheels off, I got to do wheel well work. So, if you're doing brakes and all that, you obviously can't have the thing sitting on the wheels. So pull the wheels off, I want to paint all in here. We got some seam sealing to do, seam sealing the backside of the quarter panel, which I never quite accomplished. So in that case, we'll have front and back screw jacks. You could put 4, I guess, if you're really obsessed. But I mean, it's fine. Well, we're touching up there. Oh, it's just the little piece of insulation's hung down. Don't worry, don't worry. So it's definitely tippy, but you know what? A 2-post lift lifts the exact same way. It does have the 2 posts, but I've seen, you can really tilt some stuff back and forth. Be smart about it. Use the locks, all those sort of things. I don't plan on being under this thing and wrestling it side to side. At least I say that now. Hopefully that'll be down the road. The footprint is small, no bones about it. People use them. They have used them for years. We'll try it out. I don't know what make or brand this is, but it should be fine. The one thing I did notice it's got a set of wheels at the front, and either they're not rolling or they're caught on rocks. So I believe what's supposed to happen is the back's supposed to stay still, and the front's supposed to tilt to the back, where this one has kind of moved a little bit. So we have moved slightly forward, but it's fine for now. So I'm excited for this. Save my back and my brains. Let's build this screw jack. So here we go. I moved the front one all the way to the front bumper. The one I made in the back, I just put along the back bumper. I did lower it slightly. So the reason for that is it's now sitting on the locks. Before it was just on the hydraulics, which you never want to do. You always want to have it on the lock. So that's what's on right now. And at the top, it was very close to latching. And when you get on the lock, the car actually has to go up another, whatever it is, a couple of inches to release the lock. So if you have it all the way at the top and it locks, you get problems. So we got that dialed together. I can probably play with the lock a little bit and maybe make it so it'll fit on the next height up. The problem is every car is going to be different. Obviously, if this car was a few inches taller, it would be irrelevant. And if it was a few inches lower, I could go up in the lock anyways. So it is kind of what it is. We maybe lost a couple of inches, 3 inches. But now we're on there. Give her a shake. She moves around a little bit, but if you ever had a car on a 2-post lift, it does the same thing. And again, these are not actually supporting anything. There's no real weight on them. I didn't crank them up so it's lifting the car one way or the other. It's just so it can't tilt or do anything along those lines. So I'm pretty excited to pull the wheels on my own lift in my own garage. I've done this a bazillion times, but it's always been someone else's car and someone else's lift and someone else's shop. So pretty exciting moment. Got to change the battery. We'll be back out and we'll start seam sealing. I've never been excited to seam seal, but now I am. Who'd have thought? Okay, so we're all back together. I actually went out and bought another one of those little tripod things. Man, this thing is, she's sturdy now as far as, oh, gentle. I don't want to mangle these rims. You know, I have a hubcap popper too, but why use it when you can just hate your life? There we go. So, yeah, we got all the studs there. You know what's going to happen? I see, all right, I'm going to put stuff up top there and totally forget about it. But we're going to get in here and take care of the little seam sealing, whatnot. I then want to get under the thing. It's going to be so nice to be under a car now. I can't even wait. It's got like a 4-link setup. The one bar on the driver's side, it's all bent to hell. I was going to bend it back just with a torch, but every time I try and bend something back with a torch, it just has like another kind of goofy bend. So I think I might just cut it out, flatten it out, weld it back together, and then I'm going to brace the bottoms of them and see what happens. I'd measure everything. The rear end is dead center and everything. It has a bit of a wobble to it. We'll straighten it out and it'll be fine. Wow, what an absolute game changer. This would be better for everybody, you guys included. You can see everything now. I don't remember the last time I could be like sitting on my little rolly chair under a car. Usually you have the car up on jack stands, you might be able to kind of crawl in there and then jam your head up around the diff, but I'm under the fuel tank right now. That's leaking. A little body filler on that will fix it. Anyway, so here's what we got working with. See, this thing has a little bit of a wow. And the top looks fairly straight. It's got a bit of a bend. I'm just going to kind of cut it, flatten that out on the bench, weld it back in, and then on the bottom side we'll see, I might brace on this side, maybe a little easier to kind of see. But just put a piece here to here, welder on there, nice and sturdy. Obviously, got lifted with a pile, fork or something, or got on a stump or whatever it was. Who knows? But the thing drives down the road fine, doesn't dog track or anything. So this is so handy in here. So yeah, should be good. If you've been thinking about getting one of these hoists, buy one. Honestly, I was looking for a cheap one. I should have just bought the one for $3,000 the second I bought this garage and been done with it. You put these up, you're fine. It ain't going nowhere. I feel 100% safe. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So yeah, I'm gonna cut this out. So I'm gonna cut this out first because I was gonna seam seal in the wheel wells, just a little bit in the front and kind of, around in here. We gotta, I didn't even plug weld this. I gotta finish weld. I'm gonna be able to weld on my, while sitting down. So I gotta seam seal all that, clamp that up and weld it. All up in here, I welded it. Where's my light? I welded it on the other side, you can see. So I'll just seam seal that in. And the seam sealer, I believe, is flammable. And then I got a whole chair full of paint. We're gonna end up kind of just painting under here, making it look nice. And no one will ever know. Let's get this chopped out. Okay, so that's the piece all cut out. Now I've obviously already straightened this out, so it turned out pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. I cleaned everything up, made it look kind of decent. I did take the crescent wrench and gave a couple of these just to kind of bring that down. I moved this one just a little bit, but overall pretty straight, and yeah, it should fit in there pretty nice. I gotta bend this tab out just a little bit because the rest of it all fits but wants to go in just a little. So I'll do that. And I guess it's got a bit of a bow to it. So I'll bend that out, and we'll come back and we'll weld it all together. There we have it. Look at that. That's like pretty darn straight, if I do say so myself. Bit of a dip at the top, but it'll be fine. Now what I have, this is, well, I kept all the pieces I cut off those stands. This is the bottom leg. So I trimmed her up real quick. And I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put it in angle ways, kind of something like that. I don't know where, probably up to there. And we'll just weld her in. Won't stick down any lower. Give it a little more structural rigidity, and I mean, obviously I can't weld the inside of that. I welded it pretty hot, should be fine, but this will just 100% box it. You can buy control arms, I mean, that are boxed upper and lower. So we're just gonna box the lowers because they're easy, the uppers, we're gonna say they're fine. So I have another one of these. I'll just kind of, grind the metal or the paint off. We'll weld her in there. So it's got to be, 3/16 or something like that. And yeah. Should be just fine. I'm just gonna stitch it. I'm not gonna solid weld it. That'd be a lot of work. Stitch in there and she's ready for paint. The other thing I noticed, This thing actually still has the e-brake set up on it. So if we can get this front bit freed up, which I don't know if it's stuck or what, then all we really got to do is hook it up to the back bit, which is like super easy. 99% of the time, this is what gets jacked up, is inside there. So I'm hoping the cable should be good, because I couldn't find a down cable from the pedal. So, I mean, worst case, I can put something else in there. It's not the end of the world. I have a Tri-5 one. And this intermediate cable, I don't think they make, or I couldn't find one. So the fact I still have it, didn't throw it out, man, I'm a pretty bright guy. All right, so we're all kind of dialed together. I did the other, what's it called? Control arm, or whatever mount you want to call it. So now I just plug weld this all together. Man, being comfortable by the lift, guys. Anyways, this is what we have, a little bit of seam sealer. I like the clear stuff. Honestly, the really like clear stuff. It feels like they have clear, white, and black. I've never tried the white actually, but the black stuff I've tried many times. It looks better going on, but it's like thicker or something. So it's hard to spread. The clear stuff just goes on nice, and it's paintable. So when you're gonna rocker guard it, who really cares? So all we're doing here is just kind of filling in where the weld is, just to keep the junk out of it. And I should do right around here or not. It's probably fine. So that's pretty much it. We get it kind of there. It's like you're caulking the tub, but no one's ever going to see this. Give it a little wipe with your finger. There we go. We'll clean it up. The other glove. This takes 45 minutes or an hour to kind of set before it's paintable. So we're going to leave that. I'm going to put a little bit of schmoo on the gas tank. I actually think it might just be some oil or something that's on there, but just to be on the safe side, we'll go ahead and put some sealant on it, a little seal-all or maybe some epoxy, whatever I got around. It's not dripping, so I think we're fine. It doesn't smell like gas, so that's always a good sign. And then we'll let everything set up, and we'll come back and we can start painting everything. I want to paint it all, and then I want to run the emergency brake cable after it's all painted, so it'll be hanging out and look nice and new. So I'll see you in an hour. Slightly in the future, we're 1 can of undercoating, 1 can of Tremclad flat black into this project. Not bad from the side, eh? Now you get up close, still needs a little more love. Now what I've done, I just started part of it. I thought I'd show you where I'm at, and then we time lapse the kind of whole deal here. But the chassis, we painted that just with the paint, like the flat black Tremclad. The rest of it is all undercoat. I might have got a little lazy at the top there. So we just did this one section, but we got a fair bit kind of taken care of. Everything's looking pretty good. Got some of the suspension. Obviously, you got to go different angles and whatnot to get it all taken care of. We got along all up on the side there. Oh, might need a second coat there. And whatnot. So it's looking pretty good. I think my plan is we're going to get it all painted up. I got a little paint on me. Get it all painted up, let it dry for an hour or so. We got to run a few errands. We'll come back. We'll make sure this e-brake cable's working, which I don't see why it wouldn't. It's only original. And then we'll see what happens. I'd really like to have this thing all kind of dialed together. I'm running out because I got to get some headlights for this thing, and probably double check, make sure it even has a license plate light. A kind of short list of things. Once we do all that, we'll have a kind of a final once over on it. I got to set the alignment, a few little things, and kind of carry on. I'll undercoat the front and everything as well. I might do that later on today. Pull the wheels. Man, have I mentioned how convenient having a lift is? Okay, so I was out screwing around. I had some run around to do. But I did put a coat of paint and everything. I even did the front, like I pulled the wheels off, so I saved you that. Looks pretty good. I gotta get under it a little bit, but that's all taken care of. I was working on the lights a little bit, and I got the emergency brake cable. So the e-brake was a bit of a chaos thing. So it's a 3-cable system, so it has the cable that goes from the pedal itself, goes down to the intermediate, which is basically just one long cable that you use to both the back piece. Now, both the back cables are brand new. I put those in there. This was the intermediate cable, which was kind of beat up, not terrible. I had one, so I tossed it on. Now, the other thing we ran into, I had pulled the cross member for the transmission back. It was originally right here for the 6-cylinder to the small block Chevy or big block Chevy. So, and there's a little rod that goes from this cross member over to the cable on the other side to keep it kind of taut. Well, none of that was working. So the cable ended up being a little on the long side because it wasn't being pulled forward as much. Also, it got a little interferency with the spinning drive shaft. So I've got it moved around a little bit. I got this front piece lubed up. It goes nice. I had to put a couple of these. These are kind of janky, but essentially they shorten up the cable, and then it runs these little runners, and then it just connects to the back. So it's all working now. It's not my finest work, but so that's easy to move. Just give it a quick push. And now we're locked up. Give it a pull. Probably a little stiff till I get the shoes moving, but oh yeah, there we go. So she flows again. Pretty good. Let's mess with the lights. This here just needed a light bulb, so I don't have one. It's like a 97 or something like that, so I got to pick one of those up tomorrow. But that should be fine. Grounds to the bumper, which is there. We have taillights, we have park lights, we have reverse lights, signal lights, but I don't know if this is all the way. We are missing, why don't we have any headlights? What did I do there? Okay, I think we are missing one headlight. Yeah, so we have one low beam out. Ooh, T3. But I think the high beams are all good. Just double check this real quick. We should be able to just change one light bulb. I think 1, 2, yeah. So maybe it's a wiring thing because both high and low don't work. Usually you kind of get one or the other, but we'll see. We'll take that apart. Maybe it's not even plugged in. I'll do a little research. I think that's where we're going to end it. Change that one light bulb, and then after that, man, it's short list. Get some temporary plates on it and quick alignment. Take it in for inspection. And it's snowing today, so it'll be just in time for winter where I can't use it. Car's on the table the next day. Got called away, had a bit of a situation with the kit car, but that's a coming up video. You'll be excited to watch that in a couple of days. Anyways, we're back to working on lights. So I got the plate light working. Unfortunately, it was all kind of gibbled up in there, so I just wrapped a piece of wire around the bulb and screwed it to the car to give it a ground. So that was loud. It's working fine. We have all the lights in the front working. High beam, look at that. Bam, man, this car looks good. Now, the reason the signal light's on, I was like, oh, I might as well just double check all the lights here before I showed you guys how they all work. And I have passenger side turn on the rear, nada on the front. And it all came back to me. It was junk. I was trying to fix that in Saskatoon when I bought this thing. We also have a broken cover, so I'll see if I can glue that back together. And ultimately, the problem is this thing in there is all rotted and junk. So, see if I can take it out easy. Otherwise, we might just do the repair in the car. We'll see what happens. So, I'll be back shortly. Okay, so we're actually under the hood. I'm actually standing on a stool. This is quite the situation here. So, I pulled out the unit, like with the socket and everything. And immediately found out that it had no power because this was ripped right off. There's supposed to be, I don't know if I have enough room here. Yeah, that little socket is supposed to be the opposite end of that connects together. Obviously, that was not the case. So, I put a brand new bulb in it, and I tested with a test light the socket, which we know is good. So we have power, flash, and I have the park lights on. So that is working just fine. And I thought, well, we might as well just test this thing real quick. So we go blue to, or purple to purple. A little plug in there. Hopefully I'm not blocking too much. Ground it right on the battery, if it'll ground. There we go. So it works fine. Then we can actually do the other one as well. Jam that in there. A clean surface will probably ground a little better, but is that working? There we go. So that's fine. So all we gotta do, we'll extend those wires, put on a couple of spades, male spades, they'll go right in there. We'll tape it all up, put that back together. I did break one screw, taking it out, story of my life. So I'll have to take that apart, put a new screw in there, and then, well, I'll extend those real quick. But you know what we'll do real quick? We'll go and fix that light, because that'll take 5 minutes for the contact cement to harden up. By that time is done, put this back together. All right, so we have some clear weld. Pretty simple stuff. You just mix it 2 equal parts. So we'll give it a little goosh there. And I assume it's for plastics and whatever. And it's supposed to dry clear, so it won't screw up the light. Now, it might not be perfect, but we're just trying to get it to kind of hold together. There we go. Now you want to use a special mixing tool, which in this case is a metric bolt, which I will never use in a million years. Just mix it for a full minute. And we'll go ahead and say this is good enough. Just want to make it so it's clear mixed together, just like you're doing body filler. Now, it does recommend that the surfaces be 100% clean, which, well, we're just going to go ahead and put it on there. So we'll schmutz some of this on there. Gentle, gentle. Perfect. Now this should kind of just hold itself together. Give her a little push through. That's it. So I'll leave this to harden for a few minutes. And by that time, the wiring will be done. Put it all back together. Just like that. Working. The cool thing about 66, I believe 66 is last year and earlier, the marker lights or the park lights only work on the front, but they're just the running lights are on, but when you put the headlights on, they go off. Neat, eh? You know how I figured that out? Because I had a 64 Chevelle, Beaumont, and I was trying to figure out the wiring because every time I put the headlights on, the park lights would go out, and I couldn't figure it out. And Googled it, and that's what it said. Anyway, this is still kind of meh. You know, when you have the left over there, it's still a little tacky. It says sets in 5 minutes, cures in 1 hour, so we'll give it the hour. Put the wheels and tires back on. This thing is pretty much ready to go. We got some cleaning up to do, and next video is alignment. We got some insurance on it. We're gonna go drive this thing. I gotta get wipers because I mangled up the wipers, my brand new windshield. Double check the heater, give it a good once over, and take her in for inspection. So next video, I'll be driving this thing after some sort of sketchy alignment. In the snow, in the rain, Winnipeg. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, buy yourself a lift, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, all those things, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Man, we got a lot on the go right away here.